Gloves here, and today we're going to be talking about the answers to the Harmony 1 Test 2. So you've taken it now, you've looked at it, you've given it a good go. Let's look at the answers here and see how you did. So here is the scale for E major. This is it. Da-da-da, as requested. So there you go. Hopefully you got that one right. And we also have the Harmonic Minor. Thought it was kind of interesting because this one has a sharp and a flat in it, which is kind of weird considering most scales don't do that. So there you have it. Unless you consider like all scales in their totality, which I don't know. I'd have to think about that a little bit more. But anyways, the ones we work with typically don't do this. So we're like, hey, look at that. It's kind of strange. So, okay. So that's the answer to that one. All I can really do is show you. This is all covered. This is all review. So it should not have been too difficult. We have here are the key signatures. I talked about the key. We use the second to last flat to create the key, or we use the last sharp, the note above it. In some cases, we just must have it memorized. And that would be, like for example, here's one flat. So that would just be F. And then we can use our intervals going up a major sixth or down a minor third in order to figure out what the relative minor, and we use the natural minor scale to do this because that is the one that is associated with the key signature. So that's the one we use. Okay, what is the name for the sixth scale degree? Well, we think and we say, oh, that would be the submediant. And what is the name? And it's, if you think about the mediant and then 3 away from that would be the submediant. 3 and 6 have this relationship. Well, we'll learn about more later. What is the name for the second scale degree? And that is the supertonic. That's that. How many notes are in a triad? 3. And then this one, I just thought was an interesting one, a dyad. There's 2 notes in a dyad. So that's how many notes are in there. Which intervals can never be major or minor? This is perfect intervals. If you should have gotten these. These are the ones you just should have gotten. These are just sort of like vocab questions to a degree. Show an example of the rule of 9. Okay, so here's my example. It's C to E, which is a third. And if we invert it, we bring the C up, that becomes a sixth. A 6. And in this case, it would actually be a minor 6. And 6 plus 3 is 9. And actually, what's happening here is a big deal. We talk about rule of 9 when we invert because it's sort of convenient. But there's symmetries that happen in harmony. And they're like whole topics all on their own. Like we won't talk about them in this course. It's way outside the scope of our course right now. But as you get higher and higher, there are like whole books on this sort of stuff. So pretty interesting stuff. You'll hear about things like negative harmony and stuff. It's like, what the heck? What is the order of sharps? So for me, I know the order of flats really well. B'd, G, C, F. So if you do that backwards, F, C, G, D, A, E, B. And there's like, people have acronyms for this one. I just always I start with the order of flats and then order flats backwards, the order of sharps. What is your favorite chord? I answered that one. This is just what you put, comment down below. Why is that your favorite chord? For me, this one just sounds, I call it, it's like crunchy, but like a smooth crunch. And I like that. So it's one of those judgment answers. Like, ooh. Okay, so here is the figure bass, and the figure bass here is a little tricky in that, you've got to make sure you note all the correct flats and sharps and the triads. So some of you may have spent a fair amount of time. This is where the fact that this test is only an hour long can be quite detrimental. You got to be pretty quick to get this done in an hour. If you got it done in an hour and a half, I mean, that's okay, but we should be pretty quick at this. And so, yeah, that's that. If you took your time, though, and you still got it done, you got it done, right? When you're writing music, if you're writing it for yourself, there's no time limit. If you're writing it for someone else, if like a commercial application, there's generally a time limit, and you want to be able to work relatively quickly. So there you go. So these are fun. Nothing really much left for me to say. Just compare your answers, and if you feel stuck here, look at a previous video. Write the 4 chords in measure 17 in open voicing. Okay, so we have these 4 chords, blah, blah, blah. And so here they are across the grand staff, 2 notes in each. And because we just want to get used to reading and writing chords like this. And they're open because there is a space where our chords could be closer than they are currently. So it is open. Okay, write the formula formulas for the fifths. We say, okay, well, a major seventh, major triad, major seventh, minor triads, minor sevenths, minor triad, minor seventh, major minor seven or dominant sevenths, major triad plus minor seventh, half diminished, and then full diminished with the respective diminished chords. One has a minor seven, one has a diminished seven. This should not be new stuff. Something I really didn't test you on, but I really should have, is Roman numerals. But we're going to use them so much, and you're going to see them everywhere that I don't know how you got away from that. But anyways, you escaped the fiery furnace this time. But they will come back, and we're going to use them so much. I'm not that worried about you learning them. Normally, that's not a problem. If anything, the thing that trips up students is the fact that the minor 7 chord is indicated by a lowercase Roman numeral. Okay, so let's build now we're doing the same thing as above, build the chord and the inversion and replace it with the proper figure bass. So here you go. That's the stuff. I compare it and so on and so forth. By the way, if you notice a typo, if I missed something here, if you're like, whoa, this is wrong, or you think something's suspicious, just shoot me a comment or a personal message or something. I have people that report typos to me and I fix them. So it's like, I make mistakes sometimes, I'm not like, yeah, every now and then the teacher also makes a mistake. It's really embarrassing when you do it on the whiteboard in front of an entire class. But anyways, everyone knows that feeling. So there you go. That's the stuff. I mean, we just did so many exercises on this. You should be okay with it. Okay, build a possible chord from each figure bass with respect to D major, then label it. All right, so here's our possible chords. So we were given these notes, and I kept everything short, and I kept it on the bass clef. I didn't go across the grand staff, so oh well. And there you go. These are all possibilities. These are the easiest ones, so that's what I did. Moving on. Here's the other bit of them. So this is another part where you may have felt the crunch of the time going. Like if this was in a class and you had a timer going, this could be something that if you're not very fast, you may want to figure out why you're not that fast and find ways to speed up. Maybe just getting more familiar is what you need to do. Go to piano, learn the scales. Piano's a really great instrument to learn anyways. So we have, 36, true, false. This is true. So bass position notation changes when you change key. And this is true because the key determines the quality of the interval. And so when I say that, you might be going, wait a second, the notation though, wouldn't it stay the same? Well, you might need to notate an accidental or something. If the key changes but the notes stay the same, which if we're only changing the key, I said nothing about what was happening with the notes. If we change the key, our figure bass will need to change to reflect that, because the figure bass changes with the key. So if our notes changed with the key, then it might be a different story. But here our notes are not changing with the key. And even then, even then, we'd have exceptions. So it's one of those you can think about for a little bit. But in this particular circumstance, this is true. The figure bass notation would change. Okay, or the bass position. We sometimes call the simplest way to write the chord, and then here are the ones we talked about. You may have another name, but I think these are all of them. Parent chord, the root chord, or the bass chord. I'm cool with any of these answers. If you wrote something else, you'd have to pass my judgment. Because these are pretty much it. We specifically talked about these. So those need to be the answers. 4 basic triads, augmented, major, diminished, minor. That's one of the ones that I'd probably come out of the test and be like, bro, what did you write? How did you interpret that question? These types of questions are always sort of interesting to have on a test. If you wrote something here that is not the qualities of chords, but it has something to do, you came up with some other answers somehow, I'd have to see it, to tell you whether or not I give you credit. But yep, that's that. So this is what I expected people to put down. Diatonic chords for E minor. So we just create the scale, no key signature. So we put in all the sharps. La 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 la. There they all are. If you used accidentals, I really prefer that you don't. But if you did, you knew what you were doing. As long as you deliberately use accidentals. On a test, I'd probably actually say if this was a written test, I'd say no usage of accidentals. When I say accidentals, I mean because these are accidentals, but accidentals that carry through. I want to see all the courtesy sharps. Courtesy sharps, a sharp that's just there, or courtesy accidentals. There are accidentals that aren't necessary to be there, but we put them there to be clear. So here's like the C sharp over here. Here's the C sharp. This C sharp is unnecessary because it would be covered by this C sharp because this C sharp is in the same octave because of the rules of accidentals. So, but we put it there because we are doing an exercise. So, and also maybe we want our musician to remember, hey, this is an exception or something. So they're called courtesy sharps. Makes sight reading a little bit easier, or sometimes a lot worse because there's too many of them and you're thinking in a key anyways. And then compose a small piece with the 7th chord. And I didn't label anything or nothing, but there's a 7th chord in here, and we're using inversions. So check it out. Inversions, 7th chord, met. That's all I care about. If you want to hear it, this is what I came up with. It's a nice thing. It has room. Things could really be built on it. It could be made to be a very simple piece. For maybe a child to learn, you have options. But anyways, your piece could sound like whatever, I don't know, but you better have met that criteria and it better have made sense somehow. So you see, a lot of students get really scared with this when these sorts of questions are asked. So we're just being real low key about this and just saying, hey, do the things, you get the credit. That easy. Okay, so that is that. This is the test. What did you get? What was your grade? Comment it down below. Is there anything you would have changed about this test? Oh my gosh, did I not name this harmony either? What the heck's going on, man? So, okay. Anyways, yeah, that's the test. If you have any questions about this, let me know. What did you think? Yeah, that sort of stuff. Subscribe, support me on Patreon, and have a blessed day.